Welcome to Black Man Spy, U.S.-Iran Warcast, Day 99. I am joined today by everybody on the panel. We have Jacob Carlsbow is here, Danish intelligence officer and Middle East expert extraordinaire, back filling the role of crazy hats is Wajeeh, the gay lion from Minneapolis, Minnesota, who is here to um, take that role. Wajeeh, I don't know if you saw yesterday's video.
I saw.
You saw. I filled in for you. I filled in for you with a hat for that Jacob can have. Maybe somebody will bring me a cup of coffee. Canada. I have today the Canada mug.
You have the Canada mug.
Because I'm still in Canada. I have to do a documentary shoot today, so I couldn't leave to go back to New York. So I'm going to do a remote here. That being said, it was actually a relatively sleepy day yesterday in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf, South Asia. And that's a good thing. Now, that didn't mean that you guys didn't come out and ask a bunch of crazy questions. This morning, I put up the chat, which is there right now. You can go over to Substack Day 99 chat. First question out of the box, Malcolm, will you marry me? And I said, I'm all good for it, except, my wife might have something to say about that. As you know, I will leave it there. Let's just leave it at that. That being said, there are a lot of people that make that offer for me. The most searched thing about me certainly during my late wife's time together was Malcolm Nance' wife. And, I don't know whether it was because people wanted to send more death threats like they were sending all the time or whatever. But apparently there's a lot of ladies and guys that think that I would be good marriage material. So I appreciate that. But that is not what we are going to talk about today. So we are going to talk about, and by the way, that is a paid subscriber chat. All right. I'm not having that conversation out in public. I'm not taking marriage offers without it being a paid subscriber. So for $7 a month, you can come ask that question. Oh, somebody sent us a moi. Who was that moi for? That was, Kissy Face. Kissy Face actually, has a very cool name, which I sometimes refer to my dogs as Kissy Face. All right. Hey, Wajeeh, while you were away at the doctors getting the double thumbs up on your health, oil was doing that roller coaster thing again. It went super, 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 super high and almost pushed $100. And now it rises and lowers, not by cents. It rises and lowers by dollars at a time. It was up like $5, down $3, up $2. And from what I'm seeing today, it's down $2 again. Do you have the oil markets at oilprice.com going on out there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And
so
I wanted
hit
to
us with
check
it.
if
Hit us.
has
It's dropped even further.
the prices has dropped
big drop.
$3 in WTI, making it $92.67. Brent crude is down $3, making it $94.66. Marban is down $3.81, making it $93.36. Let me check the next important thing here, which is OPEC. OPEC is at 101. That's down also almost $3. Do you have market manipulation, or is Trump saying that we have reached peace? Because I'm not seeing anything about that.
Well, I think that Go ahead, Jake. What do you say?
Yeah, well, it seems that the market reaction these last couple of hours, at least, has been due to the Lebanon agreement. As fragile as it is, you wonder what the hell are they thinking about. But nevertheless, that has brought down the price $2-3, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of which, Lebanon, we are going to talk extensively about that today. That is where all the real action is going on there, and it's finally time to buff people up with a good briefing. I'm going to bring up the maps, and you can understand what's going on in Lebanon. I will even show you a photo of me at age 20 in Beirut, Lebanon, on my first day at work. So, which in the intelligence community, just to give you an idea how long this has been going on, and I came in decades later. So, after a decade and a half after the crisis started. That being said, let's talk about significant activities. Significant activities which occurred. Whoa, how did that come up? Significant activities which occurred in the last 24 hours. As we know, there was that clash that occurred in the Strait of Hormuz. But just to make it a little more visual, this is Kuwait International Airport. Multiple views of the airport eating a Shahed drone with direct impact. You can see it right here. If you can see where my finger is, that's the drone that is about to come and hit Terminal 1, the main international terminal at the airport. Let's see what it looks like. It's silent. There's no audio. Boom.
whoa,
Now we're going
whoa,
to see it from multiple angles. That's another
that's a
angle.
drone.
That's a Shahed drone coming right in. Big bat shaped video. You can see it. In a moment, you're going to see some internal views and some other side views of the impact. As a matter of fact, let me go back here and I can show you the actual Shahed. You see,
Now
that's the
this
Shahed
attack
right there.
has
I don't know if you can
resulted
see it.
in one.
That's the Shahed right there.
Yeah.
Big
Okay,
delta shaped drone about to impact. Boom. Unhealthy. And then we have some video from inside the terminal. That's outside. I like the way this guy, he gets an explosion. He goes, I'm going
I
home.
get it. I'm so
I'm
fuck
off.
out of here.
This is where civilians were injured. One person was killed,
Gotta go shopping.
65 injured in this attack on the terminal. That's the size of the hole. They have not only have the video, they have the parts of the drone itself. The Shahed's engine was covered. It's a Shahed. So we all know that's what was hit.
Now this has resulted in 60 people injured plus and one person killed.
Yep.
The airport just opened up 2 days ago again from because it was hit in the beginning of the war and they were fixing it up and it got opened up back again for civilian use 2 days ago.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that that was the target they chose.
This is the engine, the typical, we call it motor scooter engine that the Shahed is powered by. It's a very
Lawnmower.
simple engine, lawnmower engine, right? And it sounds like one. If you've never had a Shahed, go over here, like that. A little wood chipper going out there. But that is the impacts on Kuwait International's airport from the other day. Somebody was killed. Iran has mentioned that Trump was asked in an interview, what would it take for the war to restart? Because he says he's all about peace, love, and happiness. And he doesn't want this war to start, baby. He's a lover, not a fighter. He said if a U.S. serviceman is killed in these actions around the Persian Gulf, the United States will restart the war. Well, then why do you keep putting them in situations where they can get killed? Right? I mean, you're opening fire on the Iranians. You're doing airstrikes. You're chasing high-speed boats. You know, a guy could fall off. So, almost as if the fates were listening to him, a U.S. service member was killed yesterday in Erbil, Iraq, in an accident from a aerial evacuation squadron. We don't know how the in-service member was killed, but this counts towards the death toll, which now should be 16 service members who have died during this operation, 13 of whom were killed in action. Let me see. What else do we have?
And Trump
And it,
also, just now that you mentioned what he had said, he also downplayed the Kuwait strike and said, it was nothing much. It wasn't serious, something like that.
yeah, all those ballistic missiles and drones and everything, they mean nothing to him. That's the problem, is that to him personally, none of this matters. I mean, it has no impact on his life. So what can you say? He is more concerned with the money that is being lost than anything. And everything that we see indicates that's what's going on. Okay, with regards to the peace negotiations, there are no peace negotiations going on. The United States, even Iran, say that, yeah, Trump is trying to reach out to Pakistan. We are not seeing anything where the Iranians are communicating with Trump, direct communications with him and Mujtaba al-Khamenei. Not happening. If it is happening, it's happening through third-party intermediaries, the Pakistanis. And we talked about that yesterday. This is really, Pakistan wants this more than anybody. They get 27% of all of their industry operates on oil from the Persian Gulf. They really need this oil to come through. So does India. They are dependent on this oil, which is why Pakistan opened 6, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 6 border crossings into Iran so that they can get oil by truck. So oil is coming into Pakistan, but Pakistan will also have the generosity and gratefulness of Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the United States if they can play this intermediary role to get the negotiations started again. I personally don't know. Opinions?
Just on the negotiations of sorts, it's interesting how the Trump administration is saying, well, the Iranian position is shifting. I mean, we know that it is, at the end of the day, the top guys from the Revolutionary Guards that are calling the shots. And with Trump, his first thing was to kill the supreme leader, kill the top ranks of the IRGC. Now, of course they can't travel. Of course, you can't negotiate directly with the guys that are really calling the shots because of the way this war has been conducted. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
Yeah. Very
For all
true.
we know, he might as well been actually negotiating with the IRGC itself, not with the supreme leader. Like that's
Same thing.
for all same
Same thing.
exact. Like for all I know, like that's what I'm trying to say. It's exactly the same thing at this point. And additionally, we have a situation where we keep escalating. We keep trying to disconnect Lebanon from the actual uh, uh, field, but Iran just reinserted Lebanon directly. Apparently, the ceasefire was negotiated yesterday, but even within the ceasefire that happened, an attack happened. So for all intent and purposes, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if Iran is going to do something about this attack, especially that because they have made a red line. That's all I'm going to say for now.
Right. Okay. Well, Iran's foreign minister Arachi, this is a tweet yesterday, told Pakistan's prime minister, put Lebanon in the ceasefire clause. Our war with the Zionists is linked from day one. All resistance fronts stop together or none, right? Communications with the Americans is not cut off. Messages on stopping the Beirut attacks are still going. Back to the table only if Iran gets its full rights and the Lebanon war ends and regional tensions stop. America has clearly felt our power these last 40 days. Their power, I said this on Mario Nawafal's show yesterday. He keeps inviting me on every day. Iran's superpower now is to not do a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
This is their superpower.
Yeah.
How many cups of tea are they going to drink every day?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is their strategic patience can outweigh the entire global economy.
Yeah.
And until some people recognize that as a fact, that is just one of those things that people have to do. In fact, I was on Michael Cohen's show, and I know some of you people have issues with Michael Cohen, but I go on now. We used to have a weekly show, right? Two Felons and a Spy. And now I go on to speak specifically about Iran. And one of the questions that came up was, is Iran more powerful now that we've attacked their military? Yes. Yes. You've gotten all the superfluous junk off the table. Scrap dealers are going to make a boatload of money. But Iran now shows what its true power is. High-speed small boats, drones, ballistic missiles, not aimed at Israel, aimed at the Gulf states.
Yeah.
Right? And the multipass, pathway. Everyone's going to make money, and they have this ability now to exercise regional power by not doing a goddamn thing or threatening to do a lot of things.
And believing in the eyes of the Iranians that you can untie the Gulf situation and Lebanon is Milli Vanilli land. I mean, that's fantasy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Milli Vanilli going on out there. That's funny. I set my do not disturb. How did these people get through?
I feel like
sorry, guys. I'm constantly have to reset my do not disturb on this phone for some strange reason. And scam callers always get through. I don't know how they do that. So, that being said, let's go to the elephant in the room.
Wajeeh.
And the elephant. Oh, I'm sorry, Wajeeh.
I feel like when you say Iran has the strategic patience, what you intend to say, because they have shown they're capable of making strategic attacks when they need to, right? So they can show patience of how long they can extend this war forward, and I definitely agree with that. But
Whoop.
they usually sometimes don't show as much patience with attacks. So they will do attacks, but they will definitely keep this war going. And I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, strategic patience in this sense is that Iran will just take whatever's thrown. And they will throw back when they want as they choose. And now that, and I said this yesterday on both Mario's show, Michael Cohen's show, the Stephanie Miller show. I had 4 hours of podcasting after this show yesterday. And it's very simple that Iran has to do nothing to change the situation now. They've taken every weapon system America has other than an atomic bomb. And believe me, the 8 or 10 Dark Eagle hypersonic missiles isn't going to do anything, right? It's just another bomb. And they've taken boatloads of bomb. Hey, guys, with regards to the commentary on Michael Cohen, not going there. Don't even bother making comments. Michael Cohen and I communicate about foreign policy. I don't care about the rest of his deal or whatever's going on. And that's what this is about. Okay. I go on everybody's show, just FYI, unless they are like some extremist right-wing crazy. And I was, by the way, I was invited on Fox recently. And somebody recalled, they were like, oh, years ago, you were a Fox News guest. Would you be interested in? I was like, no. Jesse Waters' show. That's the show that they wanted me to go on. These guys think that they're going to get some nut up there. And the
But
thing
this
that
should have
I'm going to
broke them
do,
over completely, man.
I will start cussing and throwing shit on the TV, and they'll be like, "Wait a minute, you're supposed to be the calm liberal." You know, it's like, no, you invited me here. You're getting your ass kicked. So, so I did dodge that bullet. I did not go on Jesse. They were going to bring me from upstate New York down to New York City by limousine, the way it used to be in the oldie days, right? Back when there was no remote. So Jesse Waters,
they were trying to, that's how they were trying to throw you under the bus.
Yeah, I know. And Jesse Waters, he's just an attack dog, right? And this is the kind of guy. This is the light banter we should have started this show with. But this is the kind of guy who would not respond well when I say, "How's your wife and my kids?" So that's the way Fox plays, but they don't like anyone playing back using the same tactics they use, right? All right.
Exactly.
That being said, gentlemen, let's talk about Lebanon. Apparently, Israel, Lebanon have come to an agreement on a ceasefire. I have to point out that a lot of this effort came through the United States, the White House, Marco Rubio. But when I say Israel and Lebanon, I mean the foreign minister of Lebanon and Israel, not the largest military force in Lebanon, which is Hezbollah, right? So the United States, Israel, and Lebanon came to an agreement that there would be a ceasefire, right? However, there are some factors here that I'm not quite sure. I mean, the ceasefire lasted about 2 minutes, but in full retrospect, this could take a day or two. They said 48 hours for it to go into agreement. However, Ben-Gvir, right, the right-wing minister in Israel, I'm sure I have his I have the video of him here saying this. For those of you who would like to hear this in Hebrew, here's Ben-Gvir talking about the ceasefire.
חיזבאללה לא ייסוג מצפון הליטני, חיזבאללה יתעצם עוד יותר ועוד יותר, ובנסיבות האלה ראש הממשלה היה צריך להגיד לנשיא טראמפ, אדוני הנשיא, אוהבים אותך, אבל התשובה היא לא, אנחנו לא הולכים להפסקת אש, אלא להכרעה ארגון שמסכן את ביטחון ישראל.
I don't even have to speak Hebrew to know what he just said. Okay. Although my Hebrew is limited to counting numbers and getting on a bus. But I can order a French 75 at the King David Hotel. That's one of my favorite bars, right? In the King David Hotel. Love that bar. Anyway, what Ben-Gvir says, a ceasefire in Lebanon is a fantasy. Hezbollah will not withdraw north of the Litani River. Under these circumstances, Netanyahu should have said to Trump, "Mr. President, we love you," but the answer is no. Translation, Israel never wants peace, blah, blah, blah. But that is not the only person who had something to say about that. Another component of it is that they demand that Hezbollah withdraw north of the Litani River. And in a minute, I'm going to give you a geography lesson. They demand Hezbollah, according to this agreement, will be replaced in southern Lebanon by the Lebanese army, which is 3 guys, a 6-pack, and 1 M113 armored personnel carrier and 2 trucks from the 1960s. Not joking. That's pretty much what they have. They want the Lebanese armed forces to occupy southern Lebanon and that Hezbollah will be disarmed. Are you ready for this? Disarmed by the Lebanese army and the United States. That's a mean trick, right? The Lebanese army will go down, will replace them. The United States army will arm and train the Lebanese army. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you guys go ahead. Give me your thoughts on that. I'm going to show you a picture.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to happen. And I think the Israeli government knows it's not going to happen. So, they're just looking for a pretext to move on as soon as the shooting starts.
Here's what has no media told you to the viewers. Hezbollah is the most armed militia on the planet.
Mhm.
They are some of the most trained, and they are paid 10 times better than the Lebanese soldier. The amount of training that they have gone through, the number of conflicts they have participated in is much more than the Lebanese military itself. And when we're talking about capabilities, Hezbollah has so many underground facilities that go all over southern Lebanon to Beirut and to some of the borders. They have uh, stockpiles hidden in every nook and cranny of Lebanon. And it it seems like every day we're like catching some stockpile from we're watching this IDF go, oh, we just found another stockpile. What with what military you have are you going to go inside Lebanon as the IDF when you already have a shortage of more than 20,000 soldiers at the moment? The Israeli IDF is in acute shortage for soldiers, unlike the beginning of the war, when there's a lot of people came in after the October attack. Uh, a lot of Israelis from all over the world came to volunteer, and the Israeli government just didn't have enough weapons to hand out for these soldiers to go get deployed. So many of them were sent back home. Now Israel cannot get its own citizen in Israel to sign up for this war.
Yep.
So with what military are you going to go and disarm Hezbollah, the most armed militia on the planet?
This military. This is a photograph. The reason I went and searched for this photograph is this is a photograph of a Lebanese Armed Forces M113 armored personnel carrier in 1983. This same army was asked by Israel after Israel invaded all the way up to Beirut to come in to the South and to take the South and do the exact same thing. Come in the South, occupy it, disarm the, at that time, Palestinian terrorist groups who essentially ran everything from south of Beirut all the way to the Israeli border. And their main headquarters were in Tyre. Does this sound familiar? Sidon. Does this sound familiar? Tyre is the Litani River.
Tyre's
There's
right
Tyre.
there.
Up north is
Sidon right
Sidon.
there.
And the Israelis couldn't do it. These, by the way, were Palestinian groups that had displaced after 1948, were raised in camps, all the refugee camps, and then created the popular Palestinian Liberation Organization. The big ones were the PLO, the PLFP, Popular Liberation Front for Palestine, the DLFP, the Democratic Liberation Front of Palestine. All of whom, by the way, all except for the PLO, they were socialists. None of these were religious terrorist groups, by the way, until they're okay. Good, you're bringing that up. But the Lebanese army looked like this in 1983. Now I'm going to show you what the Lebanese army. Now this is the fun part. I'm going to show you the Lebanese army today. I'm pretty sure that is the same armored vehicle that we showed back then. Although they got the same stupid helmets, they got maybe a little better helmet. Look, this issue has been going on since this time, since I was 20 years old. This is me in Beirut, Lebanon in 1983. The reason
I
I'm
don't even know who
balancing is
that
my
is.
ship is turning very hard and I'm trying to stand up straight. That's me in 1983. I have developed better than the Lebanese army. Okay?
Sounds
Nothing's
about right.
changed except me. I'm smarter, saltier, better looking than that young baby face. By the way, first day in U.S. intelligence, that
Man,
photograph
that
was
smile looks
taken.
like it hasn't seen a bad day in its life, though.
Let me tell you something funny about this. Within the hour, because that skiff, by the way, that space that I'm in is sanitized. We hadn't turned on any of the systems. That's why we could take a photograph in there. Within the hour, 69 people would be blown up by a suicide bomber, including all of the CIA staff, most of the American embassy staff, and I would not smile again for 3 years. So, just to give you an idea of what happens when you go to Beirut, crazy shit happens when you go to Beirut. If you guys actually would like to know what Beirut was like back then, go see the section of the movie Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen. Although it's crazy these guys infiltrate. The way that they describe the city, who occupied this part, who was shooting at that part, all is just guns shooting at each other. That was very accurate, even including that Mercedes sedan that they had, the old beat up Mercedes sedan. That part of the movie was indeed accurate, including the segment where they played Mr. Ed in Arabic. So instead of Mr. Ed the talking horse, you guys remember that? Okay. Mr. Ed in that movie doesn't go, "Oh, Wilbur," like he would say on the TV show. In the movie, he goes, "Ya salam." It was pretty funny. Other than that, throw that movie in the trash, right? So, but very interesting that somehow the Americans seem to think that in a couple of weeks, we could give them all the equipment they need to take on Hezbollah. Did I mention Hezbollah defeated Israel in a 15-year insurgency, almost 20 years? Wasn't it 1983, 1984 to 2000?
Yeah.
They beat the Israelis. They beat them like redheaded stepchildren. Every day, suicide bombers, rocket attacks, infantry attacks. But that Hezbollah had a pipeline of weapons and equipment going through Syria from Iran with help of the Syrian army. They don't exist anymore. There is no place for the weapons to get through Syria to Hezbollah in the numbers that they used to have. Somebody says, who would play young Malcolm Nance? I don't know. CGI. But this being said, I have no idea how they intend to enforce this ceasefire, because within minutes of this ceasefire starting, the Israelis fired a rocket into a vehicle that was carrying baby milk, dried powder milk that was resupplying families in southern Lebanon. And the Israelis made it pretty clear the south of Lebanon, south of the Zahrani River, which is below Sidon, is still a no-go zone for Lebanese people and a kill zone for anyone who enters it. That's pretty far. That's a good third of Lebanon.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Commentary, anybody?
Yeah, Malcolm. One thing, because I didn't see it, I was out for for an event and just came back. But is there anything about withdrawal of Israeli forces? Because that's always going to be, if they don't withdraw, Hezbollah is going to play it. Because they'll kick into their whole resistance narrative and all that. And that's going to work as long as you have 1/4 of the Lebanese population displaced and all that stuff, and Israeli soldiers in the south. So unless that is settled, it's not going to work.
Yep. Well, to answer your question, Defense Minister Katz had something to say about that. And what he said was, I don't even have to say it. You fill in the blank. Fill in the blank, Jacob. What did Defense Minister Katz say about this?
He said, we got to defeat Hezbollah.
Well,
we got to crush Hezbollah.
Okay, with relation to that, he said, ground operations will continue. He said no one in the north is allowed to return to southern Lebanon till further notice. And essentially, they are tying continued Israeli ground operations and withdrawal to Hezbollah's disarmament, which means they ain't never leaving. So it's an interesting commentary that, America seems to think that they've got a ceasefire, and they may have a ceasefire. Somebody said Woody Allen could play young Malcolm. Okay, that's weird. Maybe in any. That's super weird. Let me go back. Let me get off that picture. I had to turn in all my photos for my memoir yesterday, so I have a lot of young Malcolm photos. And I wonder who that guy is. But let me go back to Substack there, or X. There is a video from the Na'em Qasim, the leader, the new spiritual leader of Hezbollah. And he has quite a bit to say. And most of it is, well, you can go F yourself. So here is his comment. Here it is. As long as Israel is in Lebanon, the resistance will continue. We are only concerned with stopping the comprehensive aggression with a ceasefire and a withdrawal of Israel. That is from Hezbollah's Telegram channel. And there is, I'm pretty sure we had a photograph of it, but the Hezbollah, here's his statement. Watch in case you want to see it in Arabic. Voila. He says the exact same thing. Hezbollah is not fighting. He rejects the Israeli Lebanese ceasefire because he says this has nothing to do with Hezbollah. He called the ceasefire, ready for it, quote, Satan's dream in heaven.
Satan's dream.
حلم ابليس في الجنة.
ما هي ما الشيطان في الجنة ما فيش لا يمكن. Satan cannot be in heaven, and he cannot have a dream while he's in heaven because he's shaitan. Oh my God, that doesn't work in any religion. So unless it was before he was cast down. Anyway, he warned that as long as Israel continues to strike in Lebanon, the northern communities in Israel will not be safe. In other words, by lunch today, we can have severe fighting replay in this. Who are all these people trying to find actors to play young Malcolm? I find that hilarious.
This is all actually bad news for the moderates of Lebanon, for the Lebanese government, because it puts them in an awkward position, because they want to root out Hezbollah, but they know all this is going to destroy them. But they're under pressure by the Israelis and by the Trump administration, etc., etc.
Mhm.
And as we've talked about before, Hezbollah was starting to get in trouble in Lebanon, also in southern Lebanon. Why? Because it entered the war with Hamas, etc., etc., and the Lebanese are sick of war. So this whole that what the Israeli government is doing is unfortunately helping Hezbollah back in the limelight.
Very true. And,
even if the Lebanese government wanted to do something about it, they can't.
They can't.
No.
They have no resources to do anything about this. And here's another fantasy. I'm sorry, guys. This is a place where you do not want to play this game. If Hezbollah gets back into the suicide game, right? They haven't had suicide bombers in a long time because they learned how to defeat Israel conventionally. They learned how to use rockets for long range. But if they get into this and, the U.S. sends one of our, what do we call those brigades? We have these brigades now that go overseas and train foreign forces in how to use equipment. And the United States suddenly rushes all this equipment that they won't send to Ukraine that they now say will send to Lebanon. Well, then you can expect U.S. service members getting killed in Lebanon, right? Hezbollah suicide bombing them, rocketing them, and taking that on. Also, we're talking about this is a year's project. Army of Southern Lebanon, you just can't go, hey,
Yeah.
go down to Nebatia, right? Hezbollah's stronghold with 30,000 armed men and tell them to give you their rifles. They will take your fucking armored personnel carrier. This is what happened in the Lebanese Civil War, people. Armored units would show up there and then they were outgunned and they would surrender all their weapons and equipment to the militias.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a truism. It's just one of those things that could happen.
And, also with regard to the smuggling, Malcolm, you're right. It's a problem for Iran that Syria is gone as an ally. But we all need to remember that Iran managed to get, I don't know how much stuff into the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is surrounded by Israel. The Gaza Strip is smaller than the area between the Israeli border and the Litani River.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, still the Iranians managed to smuggle everything in
through Egypt.
Through Egypt. Yeah. So don't fool yourselves into believing that Iran can't keep this up, because unfortunately they're masters of this shit.
Yeah. Okay. All right, our last bullet point today. The European demining task force is assembling. France has said that they will take the lead. They will most likely bring their aircraft carrier, I think it's the Charles de Gaulle, down to lead the demining task force. It would be a squadron of ships from the British. We showed that yesterday. The RMS Lime Bay would be the one operating remote drones, but also a coalition of minesweepers that will come down. If they're going to be supported by France, that means they'll operate out of Abu Dhabi, out of the French port next to Critical National Infrastructure Agency and the Louvre, Abu Dhabi. So they will be operating out of Abu Dhabi for the most part, and they will go back and forth and sweep that. Oh, Malcolm, this is awesome. When is that happening? The day that a comprehensive ceasefire and end of war agreement is signed. So, in other words, no time soon.
Exactly.
There you have it. And here's the French frigate Montcalm.
Look up the yellow pages. Check the yellow page. You might find it in there someday.
Yeah. So that's because France has a mutual defense treaty with the United Arab Emirates. And that base in Abu Dhabi is an actual French Navy base. It's not just the French Navy is there. There's a detachment of French Foreign Legion there and aircraft that operate out of Dhafra Air Base. It is a full-on French mission there. And in exchange, they got 75% of the material that was in the Louvre Museum's storage bins that were down there. So that is it. We are ready to go to questions. Any comments, gentlemen, before we go to questions?
Let's go to questions.
My fish?
Yeah, let's go.
Swallow my fish? Okay, I was just on my questions, and somehow I banged myself out of them. Let me go back. Boop. Back to...
Just while you're searching, Malcolm, I can just say that the French are also playing, obviously, a very active role in Lebanon.
Yes.
But, just to put it bluntly, they can't unfuck what's being fucked. And that's, I can't put it in any better way, and so they're always in there trying to sort it out, but constantly being bombarded by crazy shit.
All right. This is our character, Ru Ryuzuki, his NAFO fella. If for those of you who don't know that, these are imaginary, slightly mentally incapacitated cartoon dogs that have defeated Russians' propaganda over the years. Full disclosure, I was one of the first NAFO fella dogs ever. And I have the distinction of actually wearing the first NAFO fella dog patch in combat in Ukraine, which is quite an honor. But that's in relation to us raising funds for a vehicle and a safe house, operating our safe house down in our battalion now is in south central Ukraine on the most active front. And there's a reason they're on the most active front. That front is likely going to crack this summer because the Russians can't seem to get any resupplies. The Ukrainians are killing everybody who comes down the main resupply route now. Okay,
Yep.
questions. This is from Steve Bulbs Malega. Do you think Trump will blame Congress and the Democrats for him losing the war after if they
Absolutely.
pass the War Powers Act?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because a true leader takes responsibility.
Except that guy. Thanks for putting the caveat, a true leader. Okay, and next.
What a true leader would always do.
It says, so this is from Kelly Horton. Will it take major economic impacts worldwide, oil shock actually happening to make Trump actually make a deal and end the war? What do you think?
I think it's really tough because Trump wants some kind of a deal, and he's searching for it. But he has put himself into such a weak position that it's always going to be a matter of how much humiliation can he take. And whenever that situation arrives, it would require me to be in his head. He'll try to spin a complete clusterfuck as something else. Sorry about all this language now, but it's terrible. And he's in a terrible position. So, yeah. So, it'll be a really, really bad deal, and it will be a deal that strengthens the Revolutionary Guards in Iran, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. So I was answering there's some commentaries here. Richard Bender says, I've heard the IRGC and the Iranian army have had skirmishes. Is that true? I haven't seen anything related to that. That'd be great propaganda, but that is 2, 3, 4 months late. That would have been in January.
That'll
right?
be Hexeth style stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that really want to manifest this whole Iran's coming apart thing. So I don't believe that.
Nah.
All right. Sorry, I'm just responding to one of these things.
And I'm just like looking at.
Bunk. All right. I might have asked before, but do you think that U.S. Reagan pulling our troops out in the 80s was a big mistake in Lebanon? Nope. I was there. That was not a big mistake. When you lose 250 people in one strike, 243, in one suicide bombing, it's time to go. We could not restabilize Lebanon. The Israelis couldn't do it. What stabilized Lebanon was like $10 billion of Saudi and Emirati money buying the city and building bars, restaurants, rebuilding the Corniche, and paying off everybody to where Beirut became a secret party place for Gulf Arabs to go to, where they could dance with hot women and drink liquor. So that's what ended the Lebanese Civil War. Boatloads of money, sweet money. And you know what's funny is that they do this everywhere. They're doing it in Egypt right now. Everything near El Alamein. It's called El Alamein Jadid. And you drive there and you're like, this is not Egypt. This is Jumeirah Beach residence in South Dubai. Even the gas stations are all Emirati. Same thing with New Cairo, just out to the northwest of Cairo. You could not even believe you were in Egypt. When these guys buy a country, they buy a whole section of that country, and they do it so that they could bring their wife and kids to Egypt while, still having a Stella beer or going to Drinkies, which is the name of their liquor stores, by the way, Drinkies. Going to Drinkies and buying Egyptian-made rum, tequila, and whiskey. Very interesting because 10 or 12 years ago, I was in Egypt and they had stopped making Stella beer. So, you could, because it got very religious. Who was the prime minister that they
Ahmed Morsi.
overthrew? Al-Morsi, right? Yeah, he was a real fundamentalist. Yeah, there was no open liquor back then. Drinkies was under.
Water and oil don't mix.
Yeah, well, Egyptians, they love wine, they love beer, and they love a good time.
That was just a very famous saying he said to the Germans when he went and visited the Germans.
Yeah.
He was asked a question, and his response to that question was, oil and water don't mix.
Okay. Listen, here's this one's about Ukraine. I'm going to mention it here, and we'll finish up for today because I do have to do a documentary with a major news channel that I used to work for that no longer exists. It changed its name. And it says, Lord Pett says, I keep seeing posts by guys like Larry Johnson about how Russia is about to steamroll Ukraine. I have to laugh. Are you shitting me? Maybe attack Europe for helping Ukraine. How accurate is that? Russia is really losing. I mean, they may, in fact, lose this war by Christmas. Ukraine now has full drone dominance over the entirety of Russia's rear, all the way to the Sea of Azov. No resupply can go to Crimea, Zaporizhia, Luhansk, Donetsk without the Ukrainians and their million suicide bomb drones blasting literally everything. And my favorite part, before I let you talk about it, Jacob, is how Ukraine is allowing any vehicle that wants to leave Crimea is free to go. They do not attack any vehicle in the outbound lane.
Except they closed the Kerch Bridge today.
Oh, they did? What?
Oh,
I
by
missed
striking
everything.
the train.
They hit the train again?
Yes, they did.
But with drones this time, not with clever trucks.
With drones.
Wow.
But
you know what? That war, Crimea is going to be abandoned. There's just no way to resupply it.
I'll urge everyone to keep a very close look on what's going to happen over the summer. I've had a close look at all the numbers and what I could get out of numbers, and I'm breaking them down in a special Q&A tonight at 8 p.m. Central European Time. So that is 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'll bring up some of the figures that I've managed to compile on drone fabrication, etc., and also missile production, missile defense, etc.
Yep. Well, yeah. So, in other words, Russia's losing this war. They're definitely losing it on the battlefront. They just can't take it, and they can't sustain themselves without food, without fuel, without ammunition. Those Russian units are going to wake up and they're going to suddenly reach for ammo and they go, oh shit, we're out of ammo. And then they're going to go, where's resupply? And they go, oh, it's burning 30 kilometers behind us. And worse, no water, right? I have helped liberate Russian occupied villages. They fucking steal everything. I shit you not. They go through all the cabinets. They steal the food. They were taking microwaves and shit. The only thing I ever found, I found a small bottle of vodka that was tucked away in a ceiling area, principally because we were looking to see if we could put a sniper's hole through the roof. And we were like, whoa, the one bottle the Russians didn't find. They drank every other damn thing there. Those soldiers, they are like hornets, not hornets. What are they? Locusts. And they steal everything. And they're there to get money, to steal and buy and sell things back in their little Russian shithole hovels back in Moscow or wherever the hell they came from. Many of them are not going back. I would be prepared to see Russian units surrender en masse this year when the logistics run out.
Yeah.
Happened last year.
as I always say, at this point in time, Ukraine manages to kill or injure 30 to 35,000 Russians a month, and they aim for 50,000. And Russia can recruit just below 30,000 each month. So, besides the weak logistics and the problems with getting supplies through, they can't bring out the forces that are required to keep the war going. So their capacity is going down.
Yep.
It's
In fact, this map is the land corridor from Russia, Rostov-on-Don, across into Donetsk. This is Luhansk, Melitopol, Mariupol is here, all the way down. This is Crimea, Simferopol, and they occupy half of Kherson province. That's how they get their food. They do bring a little out on ferries, but now the ferries are being attacked. This is a convoy. Every inch of this from here to here is now under Ukrainian drone control, and they are wiping entire convoys out in amazing Technicolor. Let's see if I can find one because they're fun to watch. Oh, when did that happen? That video, I think that video's from last year, isn't it? This
is it?
The Kerch Bridge? Yeah, that's when the section collapsed there.
Yeah.
But hey, doesn't matter if there's a bridge. Ukraine is leaving the outbound lane open, and any vehicle that is inbound is dead. And they've made it clear they will attack every truck, fuel truck, logistics truck, and there's miles of these things burning. So Ukraine could pull it out this year and without any American help. Funny how that works.
Like the defense minister says, Malcolm, it's a logistical lockdown.
A logistical lockdown. Great way to put it. We are going to be at that Crimea beach party, the NAFO Crimea beach party that we have been waiting for years. Here's actually a video of that NAFO said that when Crimea is taken back, there will be a giant Crimea beach party, and that everybody should be getting ready for that. There you go. There's summer Crimea. NAFO's pretty funny. And everybody's getting their fellows ready for summer in Crimea. There's the DJ, right? DJ Daddy Z. Fighting it out. All right, guys, thank you for coming to today's episode of Black Man Spy. We hope it was informative. Yes, Jacob?
Join me tonight or join me this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, 8 p.m. Central European time.
That's like 2 p.m. Eastern. So,
Eastern.
Like a paid subscriber?
Yeah, paid subscribers, special Q&A.
Join him. Become a paid subscriber.
Facts and figures and blah, blah, blah.
All right. And Wajeeh, thanks for, coming in. And you can now take your opiate-based drugs and go back to sleep or smoke a shisha or something like that. And I have to change.
I've been taking opioids in weeks now.
Oh, good. You shouldn't. I will be changing into a suit, and you will see me on. We're talking about Ukraine, Jacob, and Ukrainian intelligence and drone operations. So we will see you all tomorrow, unless something horrible happens, or you're going to see Jacob and Wajeeh's special event. If you haven't subscribed, share this with your friends. Say, hey, you guys need to watch these guys. This is how you get smart. If you are watching this on YouTube, you're already smart because you had to watch all the way through for me to tell you to go to Substack and join malcolmnance.substack.com. Or if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, hit the YouTube button. I'm up to 176,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're trying to get to 250,000. That's where the algorithm changes, and you will all be much smarter. So thank you all for coming today. See you all tomorrow.
See ya.
See ya.